has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness where his feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light, Eden saw play. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, God's recreation of the new day. Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word.
This is a new day. This is a new day full of sound and light and expectation. This day has been waiting for you. This day has been waiting especially for you, to embrace you, to guide you. This day has been waiting with open arms just for you. This is the day we have been given. Let's not waste it. Come now and let us worship together. Good morning. My name is Reverend Joseph Boyd, and I welcome you into our live virtual streaming service here at 1105 Elm Street in one of the best cities in the world, Youngstown, Ohio. I welcome all our friends, members, neighbors throughout Mahoning and Trumbull County. I welcome all of you out in the country, in the important rural farmland of this country in Columbiana County, out in Pennsylvania in Hermitage and Meadville. I welcome all of you from coast to coast, northern, southern, western, eastern, California, South Carolina, New York City. I welcome all those in the West in Colorado, those in the Midwest, Iowa. And I welcome all of you across the world who happen to be viewing us live on Facebook, on Zoom, or later on YouTube. I welcome all of you, all of our family in the Middle East, in Europe, all across this globe, Australia. Welcome into this sacred space of love, justice, and communion. where we recognize beauty in each and every single person, and how that beauty is heightened when we come together as a community. I am so grateful to be with you all this morning, grateful to be celebrating our annual Flower Communion service, and I'm very excited just to be here in summertime with all of you. For those who happen to live in the Youngstown area, I want to bring to your attention that Sojourn to the Past is a wonderful organization that is having a fundraiser. Sojourn to the Past is a group of youth that make a pilgrimage down to civil rights sites down south, in Selma especially. And they want to raise money for their trip. And so if you happen to be in the Youngstown area, you can pick up some pasta at Flambeau's on Market Street. It's $10 for adults, $6 for children, and it's carry out, so it's very safe. Please stop by, support our youth, again, at Flambeau's on Market Street from noon to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They definitely could use your assistance. Again, today, noon to 4 p.m., Flambeau's on Market Street in downtown Youngstown. I welcome anyone, actually, to join me virtually and in person this Wednesday at 7 p.m. for our Worship Associates meeting. We're going to be planning summer services for July and August, and I definitely could use your help. So I'm going to be in the sanctuary. We have a 10-person limit. So I'll be here. We can meet in person, 7 o'clock p.m. in the sanctuary. I'll also have a laptop, so you can also just click on the same Zoom link, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this Wednesday, and join us virtually to plan summer services for July and August. The theme for July is Covenant, and the theme for August is Serving with Grace. I could use your help. I could use your ideas. Please join me this Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, virtually on Zoom or in person at the sanctuary. I also welcome you to join me this coming Saturday, June 12th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, I will be here in person at the sanctuary, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday morning, to discuss Shantideva's great Buddhist text, A Guide to the Bodhisattva Way of Life. We had a great conversation last month. We're going to continue the conversation, but you're welcome to drop in if it's your first time, because we're going to be covering new material. So it's open to anybody. Again, this coming Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be here in person in the sanctuary, and you can join us completely virtual from Zoom on the Zoom channel. And please save the date. June 19th is a very important date in our country's history. It is Juneteenth, and we are celebrating a Juneteenth celebration as a community here in Youngstown, Ohio. So if you happen to live in the area, 11:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Youngstown Foundation Amphitheater downtown, we've been especially invited to join for a Juneteenth celebration. Again, June 19th, Saturday, 11:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have a work party in the morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time that same Saturday to set up for, wait for it, I'm very excited about this, a strawberry social, which is going to take place in the evening after the Juneteenth celebration. So this will be our first time to gather as a community in person. We're going to be doing this completely outside. We have a very large campus, and we're going to utilize our large campus, including the sidewalk space on either side of our church. And we welcome you to come by and pick up fresh strawberries from Columbiana County, vanilla ice cream from Handel's Ice Cream Company, a non-dairy option, and great company. We're going to be here 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Saturday, June 19th. You don't want to miss it. And of course, this is a free event. You're welcome to come have some dinner, go to Juneteenth, definitely go during the day, and then come to us after for a little bit of strawberries and ice cream. We'll be here 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And for those who are joining us virtually, we're going to set up a laptop so we can all say hello to you and have a good conversation and welcome you in to this wonderful community event. Again, save the date. Saturday, June 19th is going to be a big day for Youngstown and for our church. And I see down in the chat box a quote that is a great quote by Norbert Chopek. Every person is an embodiment of God. And in every one of us, God struggles for a higher expression. What does that mean to you? I welcome you to keep that awareness during the sermon and offer your thoughts later in the service when we break up into small groups and then join back together as a large community. And for those who have children, I want to bring to your attention that we have a pre-K through 8th grade religious education class happening via Zoom, and the link is also in the chat box. And the youth group will meet again next week. So this is just for 8th grade and under. And now I would like to go to Jennifer Ruth Boyd for our chalice lighting.
A few years ago, I went on a tour of some renowned gardens in England with my parents. Even though my dad grew up in Yorkshire, in the far north of England, we decided to localize the trip to gardens in the south, from the personal family gardens at Sissinghurst Castle, where my mom was very excited to see the famous White Garden, an ethereal display of white flowers of all varieties, to the grand formal gardens at the Royal Horticultural Society. It was during this trip that I saw these stunning, larger-than-life blooms with a sculptural design and a cheerful disposition. I soon learned they were called dahlias, or dahlias, I've heard it both ways. I promptly fell in love and took photo upon photo, while my mom admitted she didn't really care for dahlias because they didn't look real. That's exactly why I do love them, I emphasized to her, because they don't look real, yet they are. I just came back from a long-awaited trip to see family in Hilton Head Island in South Carolina. One day, sitting outside at lunch, a small creature landed on my plate. I jumped, thinking it was a wasp, but then saw it was a small dragonfly. "That's a blue dasher," my mom said, having studied dragonflies for most of her research and work as a biologist and professor. I've always attributed dragonflies to my mom and feel affection for them because of her. But if pressed, I probably would have said I warmed more to butterflies or ladybugs. With their daring, artful swoops in the air, dragonflies command the sky, and although revered in Japan, are maybe underrated in the West. But this little blue dasher captured my heart, and I have grown to appreciate dragonflies even more because of it. Recently, my mom said because of my interest, she's beginning to get fonder of dahlias herself. And she even sent me some dahlia bulbs to plant in the garden I was starting during the first summer that we were in our new house. I'm a newbie gardener in pretty much every way, and so I waited to plant the bulbs a really long time, until we were safely out of the risk of frost, until I could order these underground wire baskets to contain the bulbs and keep them safe from becoming gophers next meal. But I waited so long that by the time I planted them, they never came up. I derive 2 lessons from these little stories. That although beauty is in the eye of the beholder, through the enraptured eyes of another, we can see the beauty that perhaps we hadn't noticed before. And although timing is everything, don't wait too long to plant new seeds, or you might just miss out on the miracle. We light this chalice to recognize the beauty and miracle of our connection to each other.
Please join me for the reading of our covenant, which I love to hear every single Sunday, and it's a rare occasion for me to lead you, and it is my great pleasure. So get ready. We don't want to rush it. It's an important covenant. And the first word is the most important. Come back, Lola. Ready? On three. 1, 2, 3. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
We give to an organization that supports transformation in our community, which is the heart of our mission. In our church's historic commitment to the well-being of our community, we give 100% of our non-designated money to those in need. Every June, UUYO joins many local organizations to celebrate LGBTQ+ Pride Month. June was designated LGBTQ+ Pride Month to remember, recognize, and honor the 1969 Stonewall Uprising. One of the Mahoning Valley's active LGBTQ+ organizations is no stranger to UUYO, Full Spectrum Community Outreach Center. Full Spectrum was created in 2016 to provide mental health services, support groups, community education, and eventually housing for the LGBTQIA+ community. Their mission is to build an inclusive Mahoning Valley where LGBTQIA+ people thrive as healthy, equal, and complete members of society. Building relationships with area businesses and social service organizations became a priority to raise awareness of the LGBTQIA+ population. Full Spectrum created an LGBTQ+ friendly business guide and has participated in many community dialogues about diversity, equity, and inclusion. In 2019, Full Spectrum launched their first annual Pride Festival, Pride in the Valley, which continues to be held in Warren, Ohio. This year, Full Spectrum is working on a very ambitious and exciting project, purchasing and opening the area's first LGBTQIA+ shelter. Currently, there are no shelters that are safe, welcoming places for LGBTQ+ individuals in the greater Mahoning Valley. Full Spectrum hopes to be able to change that. The project is on its way, but our support can help make sure this important project moves forward from an idea to reality. We will now receive the offering that supports the life of Youngstown, the Mahoning Valley, and our wider world.
Mother Earth, beloved garden, living treasure underfoot. All our days you ground our pleasure, urgent thistle, grass and root. Herbs to heal us, plants to feed us, plan to till and tend and plow. With the pendant deep as midnight north, we ask you be here now. Father, ere your inspiration holds together all that lives, as we breathe our minds see clearly, leading us to love and give. Curing whirlwind, whispered breezes, violent, gay, and gentle cloud. With the blade as sharp as morning east, we ask you be here now. Brother fire, great transformation, share the passion of the sun. In our hearts your warmth revives us, cook our food and heat our homes. Flaming candle food within us, blazing desert will to grow. With the one directing power south, we ask you be here now. Lover, spirit, intuition in the center of our souls. In your love we find relation, all connected we are whole. Timeless mystery, quiet conscience, deeper values, voice inside. With the drum and with the cauldron, this we ask you be our guide. Be our guide.
Please join me in a time of silence together as a community. And for this moment of silence, I invite us to be present in holding Tim Reardon and his family. Tim Reardon, who runs our sound, has been a pillar of this church for a long time, and his father, Wade Reardon, recently passed away. Wade was a longtime music professor at YSU, also a pillar of this community, and has influenced countless lives. And let us hold Tim Reardon and his family as we share silence for a few moments.
These roses under my window make no reference to former roses or to better ones. They are for what they are. They exist with God today. There is no time to them. There is simply the rose. It is perfect in every moment of its existence. Before a leaf bud has burst, its whole life acts. In the full-blown flower there is no more. In the leafless root there is no less. Its nature is satisfied, and it satisfies nature in all moments alike. But we postpone or remember. We do not live in the present, but with reverted eye lament the past, or heedless of the riches that surround us, stand on tiptoe to foresee the future. We cannot be happy or strong until we too live with nature in the present, above time.
Oh, the summertime is coming, and the leaves are sweet returning. But those flowers of peace, it's for them I'm really yearning. they bloom, ever bloom? Will they bloom in the springtime? Oh, you flowers of peace, when the world should be in ring-time, will they bloom, ever bloom? I built my love a bower by a clear crystal river, but the thing her heart desires is a thing I cannot give her. Will they bloom, ever bloom? Will they bloom in the springtime? Oh, you flowers of peace, when the world should be in ring time, will they bloom, ever bloom? Oh, Providence smiled impassive as I fell on bended knee, said the lives of your empires are no more than swarms of bees. Will they bloom, ever bloom? If you and I would see those flowers go out and till the soil, it will take more than prayers. It takes hard and sweaty toil. Then they'll bloom, ever bloom. Yes, they'll bloom in the springtime. Oh, these flowers of peace, when the world should be in ring time, they will bloom, ever bloom.
Yesterday was an absolutely gorgeous day here in Youngstown, Ohio. The sun was bright, and the old Ohio sound was everywhere. And you know what that Ohio sound is? That's what I call it anyway. Lawnmowers. Lots and lots of lawnmowers. It was in the 80s Fahrenheit, and it really felt like a summer day. I would always look forward to June every single year, because in June, the roses bloom. Jennifer and I were married in a rose garden, and for me, roses have always been a reminder of love. Some kind of love that seems too good to be real, but is real. It's natural, and it grows up from the earth. I love that roses are alive for the sake of themselves. Nobody asks a rose how much they've accomplished recently, or what they're going to do in their future. Nobody asks a rose how much is in their retirement account, if they prepared adequately, or if they're going to finally apply themselves after all these years. They are beautiful because they exist, and that is more than enough. I say more than enough because I think we, you and me, as fellow humans, easily forget how much anything is really worth. we easily forget that the most valuable thing in life is the present moment. The present moment. No matter what our opinions are about it, the most valuable thing in the world, this present moment. The present moment is more precious than any stone, more precious than any currency, more precious than any idea. I know this more clearly now than I've ever known it before. I've seen people, and I'm sure maybe some of you have too, with lots of wealth, spending all of it, trying to get one more year, one more month, one more day. When I've talked with people who are near the end of their life, it seems that the present moment is of heightened and utmost importance, not to be wasted, not to be spent worrying about things that ultimately are not real, worries that usually never pan out the way we imagine. Love, though difficult to explain, even though it seems too good to be true, is a real thing. It is real, it is natural, and it's something worth paying attention to. Love, like a rose, seems to not be too hard to point out, but for some reason difficult to adequately appreciate in the present moment. I've been grateful to know many people in this community, many of you who are with us right now, who continually open my eyes and my heart to the present moment. Grateful for all those souls who are with us now and who have been with us on this journey, who literally wake me up to my life. When I fall asleep and get lost in dreams and worries and preoccupations, lamenting the past or anticipating the future. When I was growing up in Oregon, we had a giant rose bush on the side of our house with these large, I was a child, so it was about the size of my face, it seemed, these large pink roses. And I saw the largest pink rose in the middle of this very large rose bush, which was at least 2 or 3 feet taller than I was. And I remember wanting to get my brother this very large rose in the center of this bush. And so I reached my little hand inside this rose bush, and I'm sure you can see where this story is going. There were thorns everywhere that I didn't anticipate. And at first it was just 1 or 2 thorns, and it was just a little cut. But I'm definitely my mother's child, and I'm very stubborn. And so I couldn't help myself. I kept reaching inside this rose bush, my little hand getting cut up with all these thorns until I could finally reach this beautiful, large, pink rose. And of course, on the journey back, my hand hits a couple more thorns. And before I know it, my little hand is completely bloody. But I have the rose. This beautiful, large, pink rose, nearly the size of my face. I think many of us have had a similar experience. Maybe not a full bloody hand, but maybe actually that. But I think all of us have had the experience of seeing something so beautiful and being so enraptured by it that we felt compelled to have it, to possess it, to give it to someone, perhaps, and share it. There's a reason why we pick flowers, you know. I love it because it's where nature meets human culture when we pick flowers. It's our innate desire to remind ourselves or each other about the beautiful, unique, and fleeting dance that all of this is. I've shared in the past about how there is a famous story about a transmission from the Buddha to his disciple that was passed wordlessly through a flower. According to the story, the Buddha just raises a single flower for all his disciples to see. And most of the disciples are just confused, and they're waiting for the Buddha to say something. And the Buddha doesn't. He just holds up a flower. And eventually, one of his disciples smiles when he sees the flower. And according to the story, that's the person that becomes the next teacher. And he recognizes that there is enlightenment. The ability to smile at what's there. To be able to recognize what's actually there in the present moment and not wait for something else. To be there fully and appreciate it. I love this story because I think it's true. Perhaps not factually, I don't know, but very true. If only we could smile a little bit, just a little bit, at what we're experiencing every moment. What kind of life would that be? I don't think the smile means that things are always going our way. I don't think the smile means that we have no pain. I think the smile is much deeper than that. It's an appreciation of this moment. No matter what. Even in heartbreak, disappointment, stress and boredom. And when we recognize beauty in this moment, we can just smile in appreciation. We are alive to be in this beautiful moment. We are alive right now. What a beautiful moment. I have a nice, beautiful fan blowing air on my face. Refreshing. What a beautiful moment. In the Buddhist tradition, this is called heart-to-heart transmission. This ability to look at each other and just offer a smile, because no words were spoken or necessary. The disciple in the story didn't write a poem about the flower. He didn't stand in a pulpit and give a sermon about flowers. He just smiled, because that's all you had to do. You didn't need to give any words. You didn't need to codify it. You didn't even need to possess it. You just needed to notice it and smile. This flower communion makes me smile because I've learned a new layer of depth about flower communion this year, which actually was not obvious to me in past years. In the past years, of course, we would do this very beautiful ritual where we would pick a flower, each of us, and come to our physical sanctuary in Youngstown, Ohio. And each of us would come and put our single flower on the chancel. And at the end of the service, each of us would come and pick a different flower than the one that we brought. This was a ritual, as many of you know, created by the Prague Unitarian minister, Norbert Čapek. And he created this ritual during the Nazi occupation of Prague. So it's good, some of you might know this, but some of you might not know this, is that not everybody in Čapek's congregation in Prague was Christian. Some were Jews, and some, like us perhaps, didn't really know what they believed, but they wanted a community where they felt like they could search for what was worthwhile and true. So Čapek did away with the common Christian communion and introduced a new ritual using flowers, something that was obvious and accessible to everybody this time of year in the month of June. The ritual was a reminder that there is a unique beauty at the heart of all of our lives. All of our lives. Every single individual here. There is a unique beauty which we will never completely understand and we will never exhaust. A unique beauty. And we benefit by recognizing each other's beauty, especially when we can't recognize it ourselves. Beauty in this case is far more than something merely aesthetic. It's deeply spiritual. What I mean by deeply spiritual is it's fundamentally how we feel about our life. It's fundamentally how we feel about the world. It's fundamentally how we feel about meeting each other and whether we smile or scowl and avert our attention. It's fundamentally how we meet the world. Norbert Čapek, as some of you know, but some of you might not know, was put into a concentration camp in Nazi Germany for creating this ritual, among other things, and he was made a martyr in that camp. I mention this because it emphasizes this is not just about aesthetics. It's not about just the externals of beauty. It was about life itself. A very important teaching. It was about how we choose to pay attention to, about what we choose to pay attention to, and what we choose to value, and why. It's about recognizing beauty even in times of fear, even in times of uncertainty, even in times of war. Recognizing what is beautiful and what is true. It's about recognizing ourselves. Due to having a completely virtual service this year, I was tempted to think of some kind of elaborate way we could possibly each take a picture of a flower, bring a flower, or some variation of that theme to connect us to the past of what we've done. But truth be told, my heart really wasn't in it this year, and it didn't feel quite right. And I wasn't sure why until I read Emerson's reading, These Flowers. And after I read Emerson, I knew what flower communion could mean this year for 2021. We often look back to the past in lamentation or with longing for what we wish we had but presently do not. We often anticipate the future with excitement, looking forward to a day that might align more with what we like and prefer. It is the rare and wondrous thing to be in the present moment, to look at what we do have, these roses still connected to the earth, and practice gratitude for this moment of life, whatever that moment is. I learned recently of a study at Princeton that looked at markers of healthy longevity, and it boiled down to basically three things: the ability to be grateful, deep sleep, good sleep, and random acts of kindness performed out of a response to gratitude. I know there are lots of theories about what makes a good life, but I think these three make a lot of sense to me. I don't know if you've noticed this, but life is pretty surprising. As soon as you think something has been figured out and you know where it's going, we soon find out we realize we actually don't know everything. In fact, if we're lucky, we realize that we actually don't know all that much. We really never know what's going to happen day to day, even if we try our best to try to predict and beat the odds. We really don't know. And it's a guarantee that someday, for each of us, we're going to be surprised by something. At least I hope so. I hope each of us gets the opportunity to be surprised. I love being surprised. It reminds me I don't know everything. In fact, actually, I don't really know all that much. I love being surprised because I like evidence that shows me that the world does not operate exactly how I think. Not exactly. It is too wily, too subtle, too slippery, too mysterious for my fears to be completely real, for my worries to be completely founded. Too mysterious for that. In the moments when I've actually welcomed surprise, I have found moments of peace in those moments where I can welcome it. I think peace is when we allow ourselves to be in the reality that is here. Not the reality we are convinced is real, but the world that actually is real. The world that can be studied and understood, and the world that is definitely beyond study and full understanding. Accepting and welcoming that there is more going on than what we actually know is really peaceful. The moments that we can allow ourselves to live in that place, in that truth. Each of you on my Zoom screen is a flower. It's the flowers I need this year. Sometimes I see two of you in a box, almost like you're in a potted plant. Sometimes I see a cat or a dog jump into the frame and join us in communion. I see what is really beautiful this year. All of you who show up on a Sunday morning, and more importantly, all of you who show up for each other and show up for yourselves, sharing yourself, sharing what you'll never fully understand, your unique beauty that has no limit and will never be exhausted. I see flower communion and its meaning this year much more clearly. Each of us literally is in our own space, our own home, our own car, our own multitasking activities, our own errands. And yet we come together to create a patchwork that is different and beautiful every single week. I love when dogs and cats come surprisingly into the frame. It's like they know they need to be part of what's happening. Because guess what? They are a part of what's happening. They are unique, singular, and beautiful. And surprising, my favorite thing. They shower us with love without thinking, and they encourage us to do the same toward each other. As we reopen this summer, I look forward to seeing what ideas you come up with to gather in person and virtually in line with our guidelines. I think it's a fascinating time. I know many of you are craving an in-person experience, and I know many of you are also so incredibly grateful to stay connected virtually. I'm excited to experiment, to see how we might do both. And I encourage you this summer not to be shy with experimenting. Try things. Try things even you think are simple or mundane. Often the simple and mundane are what matter most. Get together for coffee and connect to each other in person over coffee. And set up your phone or a laptop so you can have coffee with people all across Youngstown and all across the country and all across the world. Later this month, we are having a strawberry social on June 19th, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Drop in anytime, and we'll get a chance to get to see each other outdoors. And for those that wish to connect to us virtually instead of come in person, we're going to allow that to be accessible so that we can greet you from wherever you are. Flower communion is a great summer ritual because the summertime is a time of enjoying the natural beauty that surrounds us in this moment, relishing in it, and sharing it with each other freely in company. We have so much to be grateful for at this church. As far as I know, we are the only faith community in this region who has not lost a member or friend to COVID-19. Part of that is smart leadership. Part of that, honestly, is probably luck. But we're alive. And we get to see one another this summer, virtually and in person. Let's enjoy that fact. Let's find ways to share our unique beauty with each other, our ideas, passions, and energy, our creativity, in a way that is respectful and grateful for this summer season. I don't know if you've noticed, but we have a lot of characters at this church, including myself, probably. We have a lot of unique individuals. I say that with affection. We do at this church foster a respect for uniqueness, and I love that. A respect for being ourselves, and a respect for finding our own way. We also foster awareness that none of us is alone on our way. We are supported in ways that actually we will probably never fathom. That awareness is Flower Communion 2021. Be a single flower, unique, particular, and wondrous. Also seek to be a bouquet this summer. Come together and find ways to connect to one another this summer, in person and virtually. Try things and encourage one another to find new ways to integrate the old with the new. Flower Communion this year has been a reminder of gratitude for me. I'm grateful to still be here with all of you. I get to see another summer, and I know more deeply now, more than ever, how precious that is. Not to be taken for granted. I don't plan to waste it. And I exhort you, don't waste this time. It's a beautiful time of year, and the flowers are blooming. May peace also bloom in you and in the world. May our sense of community also bloom and broaden this summer. May we realize more fully our uniqueness, which is actually strengthened in our togetherness. May we encourage one another to enjoy this season, to spend time outdoors, spend nights discussing intellectually stimulating topics. Let your soul be as vast as the sky this summer. May we taste a fresh strawberry, as if for the first time, not looking to the past, not anticipating the future, but grateful to be here in the sweetness that exists. May we honor the legacy of Norbert Chopek and countless others who proved through their lives that beauty will always have the last word, even in times of tragedy. There is a beauty here if we can appreciate it, if we allow ourselves to just take a moment and see what we have and see what is blooming right in front of us, seemingly too good to be true, but completely natural, growing just like us and blooming in this moment. Please pray with me. Spirit of love, we are grateful to be together. We are grateful to be alive. And we are grateful for the gift of creativity and ingenuity. Please guide us during this time to be grateful for our life, to enjoy the weather outside, whether it's sunny and hot or cool. Please help us to smile, even subtly, just a little bit, at random points throughout our day. Guide us into a true understanding of community that has no boundaries of space, and really no boundaries of time. Please help us to see how we are not alone on our journey. All this we pray. Amen.
You can play the game, you can act out the part, though you swear it wasn't written for you. Tell me how you gonna stand there with your broken heart, ashamed of playing the fool. One thing can lead to another. It doesn't take any sacrifice. Oh, father and mother, sister, brother, if it feels nice, don't think twice. Just shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna work out fine if you only will. What I've gotta say to you is just shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna be much better if you only will. You can run, but you cannot hide. This is widely known. Tell me what you plan to do with your foolish pride when you're all by yourself alone. Once you tell somebody the way that you feel, you can feel it beginning to ease. I think it's true what they say about the squeaky wheel, always getting the grease. Better to shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna work out fine if you only will. What I've gotta say to you is just shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna be much better if you only will. Just shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Come on and shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Make it rain, make it rain, make it rain, make it rain. Shower the people with love. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Come on and shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna work out fine if you only will.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we keep in our hearts until we meet again.
As you depart, please remember the one great fact. You are loved and never truly alone.
You belong among the wildflowers. You belong in a boat out at sea. Sail away and kill off the hours. You belong somewhere you feel free. Run away, find you a lover. Go away somewhere all bright and compares with you. You belong among the wildflowers. You belong in a boat out at sea. You belong with your love on your arm. You belong somewhere you feel free. You belong somewhere you feel free.
And now we're going to go